But Arsenal, very interesting indeed, because obviously if Van Persie were to go to United, he would leave a huge, gaping, big Dutchman-shaped hole in the Arsenal
No, I
first
disagree.
team. No?
I disagree.
Tell us why.
As brilliant as Robin Van Persie's been, and I am one of his biggest fans, I believe that Arsenal over the last 12 to 18 months have got into such a pattern of play that whoever gets the ball, wherever they are on the pitch, they look for Robin Van Persie. And if he doesn't perform, then they struggle. Now, I believe, with the talent they've got, which is in abundance, by the way, him going out, they'll all come into the
I think you're wrong, because I remember last season there was a point, and you're absolutely right about the fact that he was prolific, but he did go for a little phase toward, what, 6 or 8 games before the end of the season when he didn't score, and Arsenal still managed to chisel out the wins. So I think, although that is their instinct to find him as often as possible, I still think they found a way to win without him, and I think they'll do it again. I want to bring in our next guest. He's Pete Wood. He's Le Grove. He's a blogger on Twitter. He's a friend of the show, although I'm going to need a pair of sunglasses for that shirt. Evening, Pete.
Evening, Darren. How's it going?
Very well indeed. And you've been listening to the conversation a second ago. Flash was suggesting that maybe it could be a good thing if Van Persie were to go, because all of the players were trying to find him as often as possible. And I was suggesting that there was that period, wasn't there, towards the back end of the season where he wasn't scoring goals, but Arsenal was still winning. And maybe even then they had worked out, maybe we can cope without Van Persie.
I don't think it's ever going to be a good thing losing, one of the hottest finishers on the planet. That's never going to be a good thing. But I kind of agree with what you're saying. We were looking for Robin Van Persie last season because he was pretty much our only goal threat outside a very inconsistent Theo Walcott. But I think we've addressed that this summer. We've got plenty of players in who can assist and start creating chances. The only concern for Arsenal fans is if we do let Robin Van Persie go, will we replace him with kind of like-for-like quality? Like, will we go out and sign a Llorente-type player or Jovetic or one of those sorts of players? I think that's the real crux of the matter.
Okay, Pete, how's the balance set up now? If you've got Podolski, he's going to probably play wider left. There's even talk of Theo Walcott might be moving off to Inter Milan. I read that today. Or do you bring Walcott in to replace Robin Van Persie, maybe next to Giroud? I don't know. Do you believe Giroud is going to be talented enough to carry your aspirations if, and it's still an if, you lose Robin Van Persie?
I think that Wenger's already gone on record saying that Podolski will probably play through the centre. Theo Walcott, if he's not good enough out wide, he's not going to be good enough through the middle. We certainly shouldn't be playing to the strengths of a striker a potential striker who only has really one trick in his arsenal. But I think Giroud looks like a really good sort of traditional English striker. I think he had 12 assists last season, 22 goals. If he can make the step up, then we've done well. But It's a massive ask for somebody coming from League One in their first season to do what Robin's done.
Stay with us, Pete, because there have been a couple of goals flying in. I'm going to tell the viewers about Marlon King's equalised for Birmingham at home to Barnet, and also David Artella scored for Northampton at home to Cardiff. Score in both those games is 1-1. Also, Stevenage gone 2-0 up against AFC Wimbledon. James Dunn has scored for them after 38 minutes. Now, before you came on, Pete, we were having a look at what we thought the Arsenal lineup would be, and we've got Sanya, Vermaelen, Koscielny and Gibbs in the back four. We've got Song holding, Arteta and Rosicky in front of him, Walcott on the right, Gervinho on the left, and Giroud up front. Now, what I do know, and Pete will tell us all this, Arsene Wenger's gone on record as saying that Giroud and Podolski won't start the season. So he will have to play somebody up front. I'm certain it's not going to be Shamak. Quite clearly it won't be Van Persie. Could it yet be Walcott? And maybe play Oxlade-Chamberlain outright, because the one thing I did disagree with what you said, Pete, is that Walcott, he's always wanted to be a striker. And when he was at Southampton, and I'm going to defer to Flash here, he showed a lot of composure in front of goal. He was able to stand the shoulder of the last defender, he split away, and he was able to basically put the goal away with a minimum of fuss, the ball away with a minimum of fuss. And I wonder if he could yet be a striker in the making for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's always said that the reason he didn't play right up top at the highest level was because of his upper body strength. He was still trying to... So they give him more time and space out on the wing where he can attack defenders. Now, I feel as if his delivery is not good enough at the top level on a reliable...
To be a winger.
Yeah, get down there and whip the ball in. I think he's a very instinctive player. You see Theo Walcott, that when he hasn't got any time, the ball goes across him, right foot strike, across the keeper, 8, 9 times out of 10, it'll go in. You give him a really easy chance where he's got all day to think about it, and he goes pear-shaped.
So you think he could be a striker?
I do believe he could be a striker, yes.
Pete?
And I'd play Oxlade on the right.
I think the thing with Theo Walcott is he's English, and we're trying to look for any sort of reason to make him work at Arsenal. Simple fact is that his control isn't to the standard that it should be at Arsenal. He can't play with his back to goal, and his decision making is quite poor. And I don't think that sort of that one man up front. There aren't many strikers in the world that can play it. You've got players like Drogba, Thierry Henry previously, and Robin Van Persie. But Theo Walcott's not on that level. There's no way that he'd be able to lead that line, and his height's an issue as well. So you'd have to change the whole system to work around Theo Walcott.
Could he play in a two?
You know what? That's the whole thing. You do. When you've got someone with the pace of Walcott, Pete, and I hope you don't mind me as a Spurs fan and former Spurs player talking about Arsenal.
I'll give you his number,
and how,
Pete.
yeah, it's probably painted on the wall somewhere. You want Theo and the ball in the same direction. It's simple arithmetic. Same with Ian Wright. Ball and him, same direction, go towards the goal, and Theo's finishing has improved over the last